Today, I wanted to share with you a telephone conversation that I had with a client, actually earlier on today, but a telephone conversation that I have on a fairly regular basis. This client was eating what she had always eaten, maybe even a little bit less than what she had previously eaten. And she was moving her body on a regular basis. She wasn't doing mad workouts or anything like that, but she was moving her body on a regular basis. Yet scales still did not budge. She thought that she was in a calorie deficit, but she couldn't seem to get the scales to move. And when we had this conversation, I knew exactly what she felt like because I felt exactly the same when I first hit perimenopause. I thought I was doing everything right. I thought I was maintaining a calorie deficit, and yet still the scales would not budge. And in fact, for me, sometimes the weight went on. So when we hit perimenopause, our bodies go through a bit of hormonal chaos, basically, and our metabolism gets caught in the crossfire. And we need to understand how we can nourish and soothe that metabolism in order to be able to manage our weight more effectively. And it's one of the reasons why in perimenopause, weight becomes really stubborn. When I first hit perimenopause, it would take me 2 or 3 weeks just to even shift a pound. And it was really quite demoralizing. So I know what that feeling feels like. So what's going on? Well, estrogen drops. Actually, it becomes quite erratic, but it drops. And estrogen is one of the hormones that we use specifically for fat burning. It's a very efficient hormone, and it allows us to encourage better fat burning. When we don't have any estrogen, we store the fat, and that fat usually is stored around the middle. And then cortisol and insulin start to run the show. Cortisol being your stress hormone, and insulin being the hormone that you release in response to glucose. When we have poor sleep, when we are stressed, when we are on our sugar cravings or all over the place, all of these exacerbate the amount of cortisol and insulin we have in our system, and our body continues to cling to fat. So it's, again, especially around the middle. So this weight that we gain in perimenopause and become super stubborn is all linked to how our hormones are changing. Plus, if we add into that fact that our muscle mass is declining as we hit our mid-30s, our metabolism is reducing because the mitochondria in our lean tissue is what keeps our metabolism high. And if we don't have enough lean tissue, mitochondria disappear, and therefore our resting metabolism lowers. So we have less muscle mass, lower resting metabolism, and then higher chaos when it comes to estrogen, cortisol, and insulin. So as a result, what worked at 35 doesn't now work when we're in our mid-40s. And then if you add to that mix the fact that we do become less sensitive to insulin, we then, whenever we eat any carbohydrate or any sugar, is processed differently, and we can end up putting it on as weight again around the middle. So we can see this steady weight gain. And if we try to calorie restrict, if we try to kind of get into that calorie deficit, that can be a huge stress on the system. That whole eat less, move more thing can be a huge stress on the system, which can cause a spike in cortisol even further. And then that damages our metabolism even further and means we still gain weight, or we still hold on to that weight. So the problem isn't that we've been eating too much. The problem is we haven't been eating to allow our hormones to come back into balance. And the issue is that there's so much misinformation out there, so much confusion, that we don't know what does and doesn't work. So I created Midlife Weight Loss 101 workshop series, which is designed to help any woman in midlife to understand exactly how she can manage her weight and manage it effectively. These workshops are built specifically for women in perimenopause and menopause, and those women who are done with starting over every Monday, they are done with counting calories, they are done with being in a place of restriction. What we cover in these workshops are the hormone weight connection, and why we need to understand estrogen, cortisol, and insulin and how that impacts our body composition and what we can do to work with our hormones rather than against them. We will look at the systems in our body that need supporting, particularly the gut and particularly the liver, in order to manage our way through perimenopause and not gain weight or lose the weight effectively. We'll look at the importance of stress and sleep and how we can get these under control and the impacts that they have on our body. And then we will create a program that is bespoke to you so that you know exactly what's going to work for your body. So we can create lasting, sustainable change. No quick fixes, no going back on plan, no falling off plan, just a clear, doable strategy that will help you to manage your weight in midlife and beyond. So I want you to really stop blaming yourself for weight gain in perimenopause, and I want you to start seeing your body as something that you have to work with, your hormones as something that you have to work with. And I want to keep it super simple for you, because the more simple it is, the easier it is to apply. So the link is below to register for the Midlife Weight Loss 101 workshop series. They're happening on Tuesday the 21st, Thursday the 23rd, and Tuesday the 28th of April at 7 o'clock. All you need to do is click the link in the notes below and go over and have a look at them in more detail. I would love to see you there. Take good care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.